Hey, this is Brock with Straight Line Delivery, and I wanted to make a little video today explaining how I do things in my business and how I think it's different. And it's better for people depending on what they're after. So saying you're in trucking is like saying that you're in construction. That doesn't really tell me anything. Are you a roofer? Are you a plumber? Do you do floors? Trucking is as widely varied and different as saying you're in construction. It's a generic title. But what I'm in specifically, and what I've been doing since 2011, is called spot market freight. And what that means is they have freight that comes out every day that's new. And I have different customers I work with all the time, and I use a load board. I've heard people say negative things about using a load board, and they can be correct. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble and lose a lot of money because you're not always going to find freight like you want. But I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've got a good reputation, so I've got a lot of repeat customers. But the difference between what I do and what a lot of people think trucking is, even some of you guys that have Class A CDLs and you've driven a truck before, a lot of people think it's load up, especially if you're new to the industry, and this is what a lot of people do. They'll put you with a partner. You'll be out 6 weeks, 8 weeks at a time, driving all over the countryside to make, I don't know, sort of okay money, nothing great, but you're not getting the home time you want. What I try to explain to people is I specialize in flatbed freight, whether it's step decks, 40-foot hot shots, or full-size flatbeds. That doesn't matter so much. It's the area that we travel in. So if you imagine the map, see on your side, the way you're seeing it, if this is Milwaukee, Chicago, and this is Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, back up to Pittsburgh, if you live in that funky kind of rectangle, you can work a full-size flatbed or step deck truck Monday through Friday, be home Saturday and Sunday, and be home 1 or 2 nights a week and still put $2,500 to $3,000 in your pocket. That means after I take my cut and you've paid for your fuel, you can at the end of the week put $2,500 to $3,000 in your pocket and be home, 5 nights out of 7 every week, if you live in that zone. If you don't live in that zone, and you come up and you run for 2 weeks at a time, you can make even more money than that and then go home every couple of weeks and still make a great living. You don't need to drive from New York to LA to make a living doing trucking. Especially with flatbed trucking, the hot spots are what I just talked about. Basically, Cleveland to Milwaukee, or I've got them backwards for you. If this is the camera, this would be, no, that would be Chicago, right? And this would be Cleveland? No, I'm backwards. Chicago, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Kind of a diamond shape there. You can make a great living doing that. And I think too many people don't realize that. Nobody wants to be in trucking, even though they have the ability to drive a truck and maybe they've driven trucks before, because they're afraid that someone's going to get you out there, they're going to drag you out, lock you into a lease, and then just keep you on the road and never let you come home. And that's not what I do, and that's not what we do here. I design this around people that are like me. There are a few different ways to run a truck, even within that parameter. That's not a long haul, right? But even within this parameter, you can go from Pittsburgh to Chicago, and let's say that's paying $2.25 a mile. Well, if you are a hustler and you like to work, you could go on a 100-mile run out of Pittsburgh that pays $700, and then pick up later that day a place in Pittsburgh that goes to Chicago for $2.25. There are so many ways to double up on your money because of spot market freight. And what spot market freight is let's say there's a facility that makes pipes in 20-foot sections. They're used to sending out 40 feet at a time. You need a step deck or you need a full-size flatbed. All day they send out 50 loads a day. Well, there are some instances where they need to send out a different style of load or a different shape of load, and that's not in their contracted guys that show up every day and pick up the same stuff and just do the same thing for the same amount of money. They like to lock guys like that into, guaranteed freight or, basically a routine so that they can feel safe, and that way, the company can pay them less to do the work because they feel safe and they feel like they've got a guarantee. Whereas what I do, because of my experience level on this side of things, on this side of the trucking industry, I can find those loads every day that just they're a little something different. Maybe they've contracted people to haul stuff from Pittsburgh to Chicago and back. That's all they do. Okay, and they're happy with that. That's all they do. Well, what happens when a truck breaks down? They need somebody like me to come in and save the day, right? Two things happen. One, they need that filled right now, so they'll call somebody like me. And the second thing is they'll be willing to pay me more than they've contracted the people to pay because now it's an emergency. Emergencies always cost more than planned events. Anywhere in life, that's the truth. So that's kind of what we specialize in. So what we can do is say, oh, we have till 4 o'clock to pick that up. Great. We're going to book a little 100-mile or an 80-mile load that's paying $600 or $700 in the morning. We're going to do that, drop it off. And then we're going to take your load that you usually pay people $225 for, but guess what? You're going to pay us $275 because you have to have it done and you want a company that's been around for a while that you can trust. In trucking, I've said this before, I'll say it again, all trucking pays the same. And what I mean by that is you can haul across toll roads and pay that way. You can haul in the boondocks, in the hills and the mountains and the back roads and pay with fuel and wear and tear on your truck. Or you can do short hops like I'm talking about and hustle and get out there and untarp and tarp and get your paperwork signed and get out of there. You can pay with your back. And that doesn't mean abusing yourself. Actually, I think all of us in the trucking industry could use a little bit more exercise. What I'm talking about is if you're not paying tolls and you're not driving up and down hills, they're paying because it's a pain in the butt, it's in a hurry, and they need it. They've had something go wrong and now it's an emergency. That's where you can come in and really clean up. Now, if you're older and your body's beaten down and broken down, that's probably not going to work for you. That's probably not an option for you. But I've got a lot of guys that are in good shape and they can pop in and out of the truck and strap and chain and tarp and get in and out of places in a quick manner. And they can do those doubles in a day. I've got guys that'll do exactly what I'm talking about. I've got guys that sometimes pick up 3 loads in a day. If they get empty on a Monday night, Tuesday I'm looking for something that loads early and drops the same day really quickly. They might load up at 6 a.m. Tuesday, drop something, do it again, and then do it again for a longer hit. We're talking $2,000 in a day, and we're talking about guys that haven't driven 500 miles. We're talking about 300-400 miles on the truck. So the reason that's doable is because myself and my team know what we're doing, we have the connections, and we can put you on those loads. We know where your truck's at. We're not going to send you to Arizona and back just to get you out of our hair. That would be easier for me, to just send you out in the middle of nowhere and back for $225 a mile. You'd make a decent living, I'd make a great living, and I could go golfing every other day because, well, I hate golf, but that's just an example, because I don't have to deal with trying to book loads. But the best way to make money, I believe, is the way we do it here and to get you home time. So if you have experience in trucking, you've got a flatbed or a step deck, and whatever you're doing now just isn't serving your needs, if you don't have somebody like me in your corner to get you that spot market freight and really keep you loaded every minute of every day, if you're just being strung out and run for miles and miles for not that much money, give me a call or shoot me an email. I think I could probably, well, I know I can help you. I can facilitate and give you opportunity. It's up to you to do the rest. But the guys that take advantage of that opportunity, it's been life-changing for some of these guys, and it's great to see guys go from making living and working their tail off to working their tail off for themselves and doubling and tripling their income. So like I said, if you want to work hard and be zippy and be Johnny on the spot, and you're a responsible person and you have a flatbed or step deck, and you live between Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, back up to Pittsburgh. If you live somewhere in that shape and you want to be home 4 or 5 nights a week and have good home time and make a good living, like I said, $2,500 to $3,000 in your pocket every week. And that's just if you decide to be off and be home that many days a week. It just goes up from there. That's the low end, $2,500 a week in your pocket, that's the low end. I think that's pretty respectable for driving a truck, having your own business, and being able to call your own shots. So I'll put information at the end of this video. Contact me and I'll at least talk to you and see if I can help you, put you in the right direction. Thanks.